You're now watching a clip from the Inspired by show. You can watch the full episode on our YouTube channel or listen on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. So make sure to head over there, leave us a 5-star rating if you enjoyed it, and follow the show. We've got, I imagine, I'm not an expert in self-sabotage, but I imagine if you're sabotaging one area, you're probably a great at it, that you're possibly sabotaging in more than one area of your life. Is that how it works?
Sometimes. Often my experience over the last 10 years coaching, lots and lots of people has been often we're more dominant at sabotaging in one area. So for example, I work with very successful business people and they're amazing at business, but they sabotage their health. Or there could be someone that's great at their health. I do self-care, and they're get up at 5 a.m. and they go for the run and they're eating the kale salad, but they sabotage making money. So I often see it's more dominant in one area, but I always see it in 3 areas: health, relationships, and what's the other one? I always do this. Health, relationships, and business, money. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And when you go back to your journey, so you've just found out about this whole self-sabotage thing. What were you sabotaging at that point?
Relationships.
Right.
And I see it in my clients now, and even in myself, it's kind of like I was turning my back on receiving love. And how many people turn their back on having opportunities? How many people struggle to take just one step? So they go, I want more money. I want a beautiful man or a beautiful girlfriend. I want to live in a nice house. But part of them doesn't want that. And that's the bit that I work with.
Wow. What do you do, though, if they don't know that? Because it sounds to me like we're saying, yes, I want it, but part of me doesn't want it. If I'm, say, oblivious, how do I know? How do you know? How do we resolve something that we maybe aren't aware of yet?
Well, I think there has to be a level of awareness. And normally when people come to me, I might be coaching someone, they go, Eileen, you have to coach my husband. He's definitely self-sabotaging himself. And I'm like, great. Is he aware of it? They go, no. I went, well, then no. So there has to be an awareness that you kind of know, I'm going for this goal. I really want this for myself. But every time I take a step forward, it's like I take 2 steps backward. So normally the time people come to me, they're aware of it. And they'll go, do you know what? I've tried this marketing course, this marketing course, this marketing course, or I've tried this dating app, or I've tried this diet, this diet, this diet. So they've tried a lot of different things to help themselves. And then I help them with the part of them that is truly, it comes across stubborn or resistant or not willing to help them. That's the part that I help them to unlock inside.
Interesting. And so when you had this experience where you suddenly had this awareness, what helped you see the awareness? Because you said there, business wasn't quite where you wanted it to be, or your career side, you weren't getting the results for your clients because they weren't doing the work, but also your relationship wasn't where I wanted it to be. Where did the awareness come from you? Was there a breakthrough moment, or where did you sort of find that out and have that awareness?
Yeah, I think it came from me just sitting down and go, okay, so what am I doing? And what am I not doing? And that's when I went to, do you know what? Then I started to read books. I had great friends, but I just thought I needed something else. So that was the voice in my head. And that's the voice that flew me to America. And I went to an energy course on meridians, but it was really about blocks, emotional blocks and mindset blocks within yourself. And that's when I realized part of me was being the victim. But once it kind of got, it was suggested, not put, you don't go around to people, you're being a victim, because that's going to make them feel very not nice and defend themselves. But when they said, what if you're being a victim right now? And I was like, well, what's a victim? And then when the definition was given to me, I was like, oh my God, I do walk around the house feeling sorry for myself. I'm never going to find anyone, blah, 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 like that type thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's when I was like, wow. So when I came home and I would pop into that behavior, I'd hear another voice going, okay, you're being a victim right now. And that's when you can start doing the work. And that's when, ultimately what I teach people is how to coach themselves. So then when they're in their own behaviors, they can coach themselves out of those behaviors.
And when you have this awareness yourself, Is it like you're then aware of everything, so you might notice you're self-sabotaging, or is it kind of like you've now resolved it and you don't find yourself sabotaging as the expert?
Great question. For me personally, it's impossible to stop a behavior that protects you in some way. So to me, there's a part of me that will always sabotage myself. It's how long, how much, and how often I sabotage myself. So the behavior has lessened. Because if you think about, there's a part in all of us that wants to protect us. Like when when you've been sacked, when you've lost a business, when you've, had a broken marriage or, been dumped and your heart is hurt, the inner saboteur kind of goes, I don't want you to be hurt again. I don't want you to be let down. I don't want you to be humiliated again. So I'm going to protect you. The only thing is the saboteur doesn't protect us in a nice way because it might eat 3,000 chocolate biscuits. And then you go, no, I don't want to eat them. I'm a fat cow now. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Or you'll sabotage yourself by procrastinating. I've got to do a video for my work. I've got to get out there. I'm going to get out there. I'm going to get out there this week. The saboteur goes, oh no. And then you procrastinate and you do other things in your business. Then, show up.
Yeah. The thing I find really frustrating about this industry, if I can be really honest, Eileen, is that you're absolutely right. We can have an awareness, but what I find is often then people feel like we always tell ourselves off. Oh no, that's my imposter syndrome doing that again, or oh, I'm self-sabotaging. And I find that sometimes we can be harder on ourselves when we're aware.
Yes.
Do you notice this with your clients at all?
Yes. And I think because again, we go back to that, telling ourselves off because as children, it was familiar behavior. We got told off. If it wasn't at home, then it was at school or it was at a football or a netball club of some kind that we get told off. So we tell ourselves off. Again, that's just a behavior pattern that we can unlearn. And we can replace the telling off kind of parental authority voice to a compassionate godmother angel voice. So I used to sabotage myself with, food and chocolate. I'm not going to eat it, not going to eat it, I'm not going to have any. And then I'd go to a supermarket. I don't know how the chocolate got in my basket. And then I'd go home and I'd put it in my fridge. And then the next day I'll say to my daughter, Tiana, shout up the stairs, did you eat that chocolate? She's like, what chocolate? And I'm like, oh my God, I ate that chocolate. I'm not even aware of it. So, and then I go, I shouldn't have ate that. That's bad. I'm wrong. And I changed that dialogue afterwards to, I ate the chocolate. I wonder what is going on for me. I wonder what might be missing for me at this time. Because if we eat things or we have behaviors like that people don't want to talk about, we all have sabotaging behaviors that include drink, drugs, pornography, eating, gambling, vaping, whatever it could be. Yeah. And we don't want to share them. But all of those behaviors kind of help us to hide and feel bad about ourselves. So if we question them and make us feel worse, like, why did you do that? You're stupid. You're supposed to be healthy. What are people going to think of you? And instead we become compassionate and go, I wonder what that was about. And another voice always turns up with the answer. But, if you look at my career, if you look at my childhood, my childhood was, I was brought up in Coventry. It was like a mini island. My parents were Irish. I wasn't brought up with compassion. I was brought up, what's wrong with you? I'll give you a clip around the ear. What are you crying for? So that's ultimately how I talk to me.